Before we start giving Dhamma Talk, we will pay homage to the Buddha by reciting the Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. So today we will review previous talk because one of my disciples asked me to correct some part of Valanchaka Musavara. I have to read this part again and I have to review and also correct. I have talked about Valanchaka Musavara, such as a white lie in modern society. This is not akusala karma, we have already said. But according to the Majjhima Nikaya sub-commentary and also commentary, we can find that it is also breaking precepts. That means when we are taking precept, we should not use white lie. But it's not akusala karma. That means because of that white line, you cannot fall into fourfold states. You cannot fall into fourfold states. Then again, we also have to know one more thing about Valanchaka Musavara. For about bhikkhu, we should not use Valanchaka Musavara in any situation. This is different from laypersons and bhikkhus, right? These two are totally different. Okay, now we have to start today's Dhamma talk about Ājīvaṭṭhamaka Sīla. Last week we have already explained something about 8 precepts. I also have introduced 9 precepts and 10 precepts. Ājīvaṭṭhamaka Sīla is not very common in Myanmar, but it's also not very common in other countries, I'm not sure. But recently, when I have been to Sri Lanka, they have this kind of culture. They also take Ājīvaṭṭhamaka Sīla. Few days ago, I also have given Dhamma talk to Indian group. They also use Ājīvaṭṭhamaka Sīla in the Dhamma talk. So anyway, today we have to talk about all the things, especially about Ājīvaṭṭhamaka Sīla. So we have to start with bodily round actions and bhava round actions. So we have already explained bodily wrong actions in the 5 precepts and 8 precepts. But today we have to start with Vajjiduccarita, right? Vajjiduccarita means wrong speech. So whenever we are going to talk about wrong speech, we have to start with very beginning of Visuddhimagga. There we have 2 different types of Sīla mentioned in Visuddhimagga. The first one is Abhisamajjara Sīla, good behavior of the life of purity. It's manner rules and the moral precepts for the realizations of path and fruition knowledge, excepting Ājīvaṭṭhamaka. It can be all other moral precepts. That means in our Vinaya books, we have many different duties of bhikkhus. For example, as a visitor, we have visitor's duties. As a host, we have host duties. And similarly, we have many other duties. Duty for our living place, duty in the twilight and something like that. Many, many duties according to the situations where we live. All these Sīlas can be found in Vinaya Mahavagga and Dulavagga. All these are called Khandaka Vagga. Khandaka Vada. Duty come from Khandaka. So all these are called Abhisamajjara Sīla. Then 2 is Ādi Brahmacharya Sīla, beginning of the life of purity. So here we have to introduce one thing about the beginning. What does it mean beginning? It's the beginning of the path. That means the path of practice. It's also called Ājīvaṭṭhamaka Sīla. So as we have known the 5 precepts, we also have to know the Ājīvaṭṭhamaka Sīla. So Ājīvaṭṭhamaka Sīla covers 3 bodily round actions, as we have explained before, and also 4 bhava round actions. Now we are going to explain all these things. And finally, right livelihoods. Altogether 8. So these 8 are compulsory, like we are undertaking the 5 precepts. Whether Buddhist or non-Buddhist, we have to observe the 5 precepts. This is for the good behavior, good culture, for the good of our community. Similarly, when we can follow all these precepts, bodily round actions, and if we can avoid bodily round actions and bhava round actions, it will be for the good of our community. So meditator must purify these precepts before meditating. These are compulsory. These are very, very beginning of our practice. So, in some traditions, even in their daily life, they will observe Ājīvaṭṭhamaka Sīla. So, they may also observe 5 precepts. Sometimes we can also find some devotees or some yogis, when they are going to leave the monastery, they say, one day I'm going to take 5 precepts. In reality, you don't need to take 5 precepts from the bhikkhu. Even you take 5 precepts from a Buddha statue, it's okay. Not that much problem. Because as long as you are a lay person, you can take anywhere. It will be different from the Samneras. Samnera must take precepts from the bhikkhu. This is the exceptions. Okay. So now we will start with Pisuna Vaca. When we talk about Pisuna Vaca, then we also translate as slandering or backbiting. But in reality, it was points left between 2 persons. So there must be some fetters. Here I mentioned there are 5 fetters to accomplish the act of slandering or backbiting. The 2 united people. 1, this is the 2 united people. So that means the 2 people have good relationship. Then 2, have intention to disunion of the 2. So that means the third party wants to make problem between these 2 persons. It's not about joking or kidding. It just have intention to make problem between them. So after making that, he wants to get favor from one of them. With this kind of intention, he will make problem between 2 united people. Then they will have some quarreling. Then they will be break up. So anyway, then there with that one is the activity. It can be bodily actions. It also can be bhava actions. In modern community, we can also type, right? We can also send message. Many wrong informations. Then the 4th is the listener understand it. So both parties can understand what he said or what he sent, the message he sent. After that, they disunited. So, if these 5 fetters has completed, that's an offense. Sometimes, although the third party try in many ways, the 2 parties are still united. They cannot destroy it. Nobody can destroy it. Their love, or their friendships, or their relationship. This is not successful. We cannot say this is Pisuna Vaca. If successful, we can say it's Pisuna Vaca. So it doesn't mean how long they are disunited. It just means although they have disunited within maybe 1 day or 2 days, this also can be considered as Pisuna Vaca. It doesn't mean long time problem. Only short time problem is also can be considered. Then this one is Parusa Vaca, harsh speech. Mostly when we talk about harsh speech, we also understand this like abusive words. Right? Maybe very gross words. In Vinaya, we have many different types of abusive words. For example, like a lineage, or clans, or nationality, or races talking, right? Races. All the things can be considered as Parusa Vaca. So anyway, now the main thing is, in the sense of Purusavaja, it depends on our intention. It's more important. Although we may say very politely, but some of words are very disturbing for other party, the listeners. We have to consider that one. For example, sometimes the parents will scold their children using abusive words, but they have a love for their children. That's why we cannot say it is the Purusavaja. Although they use very, very harsh speech, very, very rude words, it's not really called Purusavaja because of their minds or their intention. Okay, there are 3 factors to accomplish the act of harsh speech. 1, there is a person to be abused. Here we can say verbal abuse, right? Just like emotional abuse maybe. Then 2, getting angry. Then the speaker get angry. Then with anger, he would talk to second party. Then the 3 is the activity. This is like the speaking. So there are 3 factors to accomplish these arts. Then with the next one, Samapalapa, useless speech. Since we have already talked about Musawara here, I have to explain only 3, right? That was it. The Samapalapa, useless speech. So today we will talk about useless speech. Many useless speech here, according to Buddha's teaching. Then we also have to know one more thing about informations. We can find all these informations in Digha Nikaya. The first two discourses of Digha Nikaya. So there are 3 factors to accomplish the act of useless speech. 1, have intention to speak useless things. Then 2, speaking, we also like activities, right? Speaking useless things. Nowadays we can also say like writing. And the listeners believe. 3 factors. So when we have these 3 factors, this is called useless speech. The Buddha explained the useless speech in Digha Nikaya. We can find many things in Digha Nikaya. Here we have some explanations, original explanations from Digha Nikaya, whereas some recluses and Brahmins, while living on the foods offered by the faithful, engage in frivolous chatter such as talk about kings, thieves, ministers of states. So here I have to explain one more thing, a little bit. I have to elaborate a few more things about the kings or thieves or something like that. For example, like our king is very smart, something like that. Then this kind of things can be considered as, we can say how he look, then how he walk, then something like that. Not for inspirations or motivation, just for like a fun or something like that. It can be considered as the useless speech. Sometimes we always talk about the king. Okay, although he is very powerful king, he's very polite. He's very humble. This special quality, we talk about morality to inspire, to impress. But in this kind of case, this is okay. We're gonna say that is called this. We're gonna say it's a useless speech. Sometimes we talk about the decay of the king, how he had to like catch cold, or he gets sickness, or he passed away, something like that. Therefore, sense of urgency. In this kind of case, it will be allowable. We cannot say useless speaks. It will be useless. It will be useful. Similarly, thieves. So, if we talk about the thief, how smart the thief is, then this is just right, useless to the listeners. If we say he's such kind of powerful thief, but he was arrested because of his mistakes, and just for a sense of urgency or for moral purpose, like a moral story. In this kind of case, it will be useful. Then similarly, minister of the state and something like that, it will be very similar, right? Then again, talk about enemies, talk about dangers, talk about the wars. Now we have a lot of words in all over the world, right? Very, very messy and very, very hard words. Anyway, if we talk about enemies for a sense of urgency, or wars, or dangers for a sense of urgency, or just for kindness, kind expressions, this kind of things will be okay. But if we just talk about many messy things, right? He fight like this, he fight like that, they attack this kind of way, that way, many different ways, something like that, then these are useless. Then again, talk about foods, drink, garments, and lodging. This is very clear, I don't need to explain. Then talk about garlands, scents. Okay, yeah, in this case also, sometimes you may talk about what you have offered in the past. I've offered this kind of foods, this kind of drink, and something like that. It will be okay. That's for about donations, for about inspirations, or for about motivations. Then similarly, we can also talk about the offering flowers to the Buddha statue, something like that. Also, here talk about scents, right? Then otherwise they talk about relations, vehicles, villages, towns, cities, and countries. So in this case also, it will be similar to previous one. When we talk about relations or about our relatives, then if we talk about sense of urgency or some motivation, it will be fine. For our vehicles, right? For example, I have this kind of car, that kind of car, something like that. Then I have this kind of bicycle, this kind of motorbike, and this kind of things. Many, right? Things, many different types of vehicles. If we spend our time talking about vehicles, then this is called useless talk. For our village, sometimes when we talk about our village for good culture, how we live, how they trying to live with contentment, that kind of things will be considered as Dhamma. It's not only purely useless talk. So if something concerning with the Dhamma, it will be okay. Similarly, towns. For motivation, this towns are very clean. People in the city are very united. That kind of things will be for inspirations. Then similarly, cities and countries. Okay, now next one here we have talk about women, talk about heroes. I think this one is very clear, right? Similarly, we have street talk by the well. So this one also very clear. I think on the street you can talk many different things, right? Then also street talk. Then talk about those departed in days gone by. This one is also clear. We don't need to explain that much. Then rambling chit chat. Then speculations about the words, about the sea, talk about gains and loss. So all these are not that complicated for the listeners. So we may have a lot of discovery, a lot of research about the words, about the sea, something like that. Talk about the gains and loss. So he abstained from such frivolous chatter. These two pertain to moral disciplines. So these are useless talk listed in Jika Nikaya. So when we are taking Ājīvaṭṭhamaka Sīla, we have to avoid all these things. Then one more thing here, according to our culture in the village, especially when they are taking a precept. Even last week, I have already introduced some parts how we live in Upasthana day in the village. So we have a Dhamma talk in the morning, but in the afternoon, sometimes if there's 2 or 3 bhikkhus, they can give Dhamma talk, but sometimes nobody, then they can read Dhamma books. So when we are taking precepts, we should spend our time with reading books. By reading books. So it will be less conversation. If we have conversation, there will be the breaking precepts. That's why we should avoid many unnecessary conversations. Anyway, so it depends on the place we live. We may have different culture. Then miccha ajiva or miccha jiva, wrong livelihoods. I think many of people have known the 5 kinds of wrong livelihoods. Frequently, we can find in many different Pali texts. I think many of Dhamma Talkers also explained all these things in their Dhamma Talks about miccha ajiva, wrong livelihoods. So they are 1. Satta vanija, weapon trade. This is also very easy to understand. Then satta vanija, animal trade, including human trafficking. Then 3. Mansa vanija, meat trade. 4. Macha vanija, liquor trade. Then finally we have visa vanija, poison trade. So these 5 are allowable for a Buddhist. As Buddhists, if we sell these kind of things, it will be breaking precepts, according to Ājīvaṭṭhamaka Sīla. So these are the commonly explained in many places, especially in most of the Dhamma Talk. We explain these 5. But for today, I have to introduce many different types of wrong livelihoods mentioned in Digha Nikaya. It will be very many wrong livelihoods. I have to divide into 2 different parts. This is the first part. I just talk about the Abhisamacharika Sīla, Adi-brahmacharika Sīla. That is why I have to explain all these things. But later, when we talk about Ājīvaṭṭhamaka Sīla, according to Visuddhimagga, there will be another part. So today, this is the first part. How the Buddha lists out the wrong livelihoods in Digha Nikaya. Okay, here I have to list out. Whereas some recluses and Brahmins, while living on the foods offered by the faithful, earn their living by wrong means of livelihoods, by such diverse acts as providing long life, prosperity, and etc. Or the reverse, from the marks on the person's limbs, hands, feet, etc. So, okay, here in this case, you can live long, or you can be short, you can live long, something like that. They will talk about all these things. Similarly, you can be prosper, you cannot be prosper, you can be wealthy, you cannot be wealthy, something like that, by seeing some body marks or something like that. So, this kind of things also can be very common in some Asian country. Even in maybe some Western country, they may have this kind of culture, I'm not sure. In Asian country, most of the country have this kind of culture, like palm readers. They will see the marks in the palms, and they will say, "Oh, you can live long, and you have marriage will be good. You can be healthy, something like that." So they may say many different things about their life. Then again, divining by means of omens and signs. This one is also, I think, very common, right? There can be many different types of omens, many different types of signs. When seeing that, they may have some telling. Similarly, making auguries on the basis of thunderbolts and special portents. So in this case, when the thunderbolt strikes, here and there, something like that, then we have to know why it's happened, something like that, right? Then there will be many different things about the how it will affect to the world, to the country, something like that. So all these can be considered as wrong livelihoods. So some of the people, they will say that kind of things, they will earn money, and when they, especially for bhikkhu, if they earn money by telling this kind of things, it is wrong livelihoods. So then we have another part about the things here. Interpreting ominous dreams. Then if we have this kind of dreams, then you can get this kind of result. For example, like if you dream in the early morning, it will be truth. If you dream in the middle of the night is not true, something like that. So sometimes if you have this kind of dream, you may have this, it will get that kind of result. It will affect this kind of things. Then they may say that many different things about dreams. So this also, if bhikkhu or samaras live by telling this kind of things, there's also wrong livelihoods. So telling fortunes from the marks on the body. Actually, we have many books about it. Even I have read this kind of books when I was little boy, especially when I was teenage boy. For example, like if you have like a mark on the forehead, and if you have this kind of, you may be this kind of person. If you have like a in your cheeks, if you have this kind of mark, it will be that kind of person. You have this kind of mind, something like that. So they will say many different things by seeing the body marks. You know, even the Buddha himself, right? Even at the time of the Buddha, many Brahmins talk about the bodhisattva, right? One of them is the Venerable Kondanya. He raised one finger, said he will become Buddha by seeing all the body marks on the bodhisattva. So this kind of culture is very common in ancient time. Even in modern society, we still have this kind of books. When seeing the body marks, they can also know people's minds, something like that. Then similarly, making auguries from the marks on the clothes gnawed by the mice. There's also we may have some special, maybe fortune teller maybe for this kind of case. So for example, like if the mice gnaw, maybe for example in the back part or front part of the cloth, something like that, then they may have different types of effects for them. They may have this kind of fortune telling. Then similarly, offering fire of the oblation. So this one is just for offering fire. So we can also, I think this kind of thing is not very common in Myanmar, but we can still have this kind of things in India, somewhere, right? So in this case, we have to explain one more thing. It depends on what kind of firewood we use. If we offer very high valuable things, it will bring better benefits. Then they may also have many different procedures to do this kind of things. Very strict procedure. After this, you have to do this within this time, within this moment, something like that. Many strict procedure, and they have to follow all the things, and they have to do all the offering fire oblations. So that is also a kind of culture. We cannot find this kind of culture in Myanmar. So in other words, offering oblation from a letter. So this also can be what kind of things we use. But they may have like some like broken rice, and also we may use some letters and also offer. Then, in other words, offering oblations of hacks and rice powder, rice grains, geese, wines to the gods. These are very simple. Then again, offering oblations from the mouth. Okay, this one I have to explain a little bit more. So, in this kind of case, we have some explanations. So, the one, he may keep mustard seeds in his mouth, or maybe it can be any other things. So here I just give example, right? Mustard seed inside the mouth. Then he may blow into the fire, and also he may recite ritual mantra at the same time. This kind of culture. This is called offering oblations from the mouth. It can be any other material. Here I just talk about mustard seed. The offering blood sacrifice to the gods. And this one also, it depends on the blood where we take. It can like the blood from the right column bowl, or maybe it can be knees, something like that. They can get the blood and also they offer to the gods. So that kind of things can be considered as offering blood sacrifice to the gods. Then we have making predictions based on fingertips. This is also like a prediction, right? So that means seeing the finger bones and reciting mantra, he may tell him that he will be famous, glorious, something like that. Eh? So this kind of things. Then the next one is like determining whether the site for a proposed house or garden is propitious or not. So actually when we study Bodhisattva, especially about history of Buddha's country, even even the name is Kapila, the hermit or the ascetic name is Kapila. He gave his living place to King Okaka. Then this is actually he himself also can know that is a good place for them to make a new country, to build their new kingdom. So even Buddha country have this kind of culture, but now also I think in China or somewhere they have this kind of culture maybe. But if your house is like this kind of affects some special method they have. Even sometimes some of the Chinese devotees came to my kuti, they also say, your kuti is not really very good. This kind of things is really very bad for your hair, something like that. I also remember sometimes they talk to me like that. Anyway, I also have seen that kind of the same things to Ājīvaṭṭhamaka. Ājīvaṭṭhamaka also have to change his living place, his like a sleeping bag, something like that. Anyway, so as a lay person, it doesn't matter. They can do that kind of things. But as an ordinary person, we cannot do. We must not do it. If we just have one big our Dhamma friends, it will be okay, no really big problem. But if we do that kind of things for living, for survival, it will be the problem. This is wrong livelihoods. Then again, we have next part, making predictions for officers of state. Here, I have used the some Pali word, right? Then, okay, so anyway, this is like only just the predictions or the officers of state. Okay, this is also very common. Then another is laying demons in a cemetery. So here, this one is what we call in Pali Siva Vijja in Pali. Then that means making charm in the cemetery, or when the sign of barking sounds of a fox, both can be considered as Siva Vijja. So there are two different definitions. One is making charm in the cemetery. This one's actually, we have many story about this in Myanmar. This is like an oral story. Then another one is like the sign of barking sounds of fox. Then this is like omens, right? A kind of omens, ominous signs of barking sounds of fox. Then laying ghosts. This is reciting mantras to chase out the ghost from the body when someone is bewitched. Then that means, okay, we have to. This also is some culture. They also this kind of. They have some kind of culture like this. I have been to one temple in Malaysia. They have this kind of culture. Anyway, that one is also common in Asian country, but I'm not sure. Some Western now we believe these kind of things. Then again, knowledge of chants to be pronounced by one living in the earthen house. So they may make a house with earth or clay. He may, by living that kind of in this place, he may make charms, reciting some mantras there. The snake charmings. In this case, like a snake charming can be many different things according to explanations. For example, like giving medicines, right? Also, chanting mantra to remove poisons of a snake. This is also called snake charming. Another one is calling the snake to suck the poison back. That means sometimes I think when I was a little boy, I have watched some Indian movie. They have this kind of power, you know. They use the flute and they bring the snake back and also ask snake to suck the poison, something like that. Anyway, so snake charming can be removing poisons in any ways, by using any ways. This is called snake charming. Also like a taming snake maybe, right? Then we have a poison crab, scorpion crab, red crab, barb crab, crow crabs. So here we have many things about it. For example, like a poison crabs. Also can in Bali we call Visuddhimagga. It can be many different things. That means if someone has poison in their body, removing the poison from the body, this is also one thing. Another one is making new poison. How to make new poison? For example, if we miss this one and that one, it will be poison, right? Making new poisons. Also called Visuddhimagga. Another one is vomiting poison. So that means they will give some medicine to vomit. If someone has swallowed up the poison, then the bhikkhu may give medicine to vomit it. They also can be considered as Visuddhimagga. So-called poison crabs in English here, I use the poison crabs. Similarly, scorpion, rats, you can also imagine all the things. Okay, another thing here, we talk about the scorpion and rat. If someone is bitten by a scorpion or rat, they may give medicine. This is called scorpion crabs or rat crabs. We may have many different types of rats, right? Some rats are a little dangerous. So similarly, barb crabs. In the sense of barb crabs, it depends on the sounds. For example, like if the barb will make very noisy sounds, then it will be this kind of effects, it will be resulting in this kind of things, something like that. Then similarly, crow crabs is also like by listening the sound of a crow, and we can also know what will happen in the future, something like that. So if bhikkhu survive by telling all these kind of things, it is called wrong livelihoods. Then here we have to foretelling the number of years that man has to live. That's also a kind of fortune telling, right? Then reciting charms to give protection from arrows. Even in Myanmar, we have many different types of belief like this. They may have many different charms in their necks, in their hands, many things. Sometimes make all the threads, make all this, very messy about it. Anyway, so they were used in their hands, in their necks, many things. Reciting charms to give protections from arrows. This is only one thing. Then another is reciting charms to understand the language of animals. So, ancient times they may have this kind of mantra or tantra. Even now, modern society, somebody may know animals' language, although they don't do chant, right? If they learn how to communicate, they can still communicate. He abstains from such wrong means of livelihoods, from such diverse arts, and this too pertains to his moral discipline. This is the first part. Then we have to continue the next one. Whereas some recluse and Brahmins, while living on the foods offered by faithful, earn their living by wrong means of livelihoods, by such diverse arts as interpreting the significance of the color, shape, and other features of following items to determine whether they portend fortunes or misfortunes for their owners. Gems, garments, staves, swords, spears, arrows, bows, other weapons, women, men, boys, girls, slaves, slave women, elephants, horses, buffaloes, bulls, cows, goats, rams, fowls, quails, lizards, earrings, house gobbles, turtles, and other animals. So that means, for example, especially this kind of things can be found in countrysides, like gems. If you use this kind of gems, it will be very helpful for your future, something like that. Garments, similarly, this kind of garments are not allowed for you, not suitable for you. If you use, it will be very helpful for your life. You are an unlucky person, something like that. So all the things can be considered the same. Actually, that means how I can experience in our countries. For example, like cows and bulls. Right? When seeing cows and bulls, and we can know this one is a good nature or bad nature. Then when we are like a buying, especially like oxen, we have to find good behavior and good culture. All of them must be complete. We have to see everything: hogs, horn, and also like a tails and nose, everything. They check, including the back of the oxen. After seeing everything, if they like, they will buy. If they dislike, they will not buy. Although it's very strong or very big, it doesn't matter. The main thing is they have to use freely and comfortably in their lifetime. Anyway, there are many different signs of cows and bulls and other animals. So they may have this kind of culture. Then a bhikkhu must not live by telling all these kind of things. Then the next one, he abstains from such wrong means or livelihoods, from such diverse arts. This too pertains to his moral disciplines. Then the next one, whereas some recluses and Brahmins, while living on the foods offered by the faithful, and they are living by wrong means of livelihood, such as diverse arts as making predictions to the effect that. So it will be the long list. The king will march forth. I think you can understand that one. So in this case, right, like our king will invade another country, our king will attack another country, something like that. Then again, the king will return. Then he will retreat, he will not go there anymore. Then we have many other lists here. Our king will attack, and the enemy king will retreat. The enemy king will attack, and our king will retreat. Our king will triumph, and the enemy kings will be defeated. The enemy king will be triumph, and our kings will be defeated. So there will be victory for one and defeat for the other. So he will have this kind of fortune telling. Even in Myanmar culture, in Myanmar history, we have many things like that. Similar thing can be found in Thailand culture. In Thailand also, they make many fortune teller like that. If you march in this day, in this kind of situation, you will win. You will win. I mean, if you march in this way, then you will be defeated. Something like that. Okay, anyway, as a bhikkhu, we must not do this kind of things. So he abstains from such wrong means of livelihoods, from such diverse arts. This too pertains to his moral discipline. Then we have the next one. Whereas some recluses and Brahmins, while living on the foods offered by the faithful, earn their living by wrong means or livelihoods, by such diverse arts as preaching. There will be an eclipse of the moon, an eclipse of the sun, an eclipse of the constellation. So I think now modern society, many scientists can know, right? They call astrologists, maybe, right? Astrologists may know that one, all these things. The sun and the moon will go on their proper courses. Then there will be an aberration of the sun and moon. Then the constellations will go on their proper courses. Then there will be an aberration of a constellation. There will be a fall of metals. Even recently we have this kind of news, right? Some rumors like that. Anyway, there will be a sky blaze. So another one is that there will be an earthquake, there will be an earth roll. Especially if there's an earthquake, there's also earth roll. Right? We can hear earth roll. There will be an rising and setting, a darkness and brightness of the moon, sun, and constellations. Such will be the result of the moon's eclipse, such the result of the sun's eclipse, and so on, down to all the things I mentioned before, right? Such will be the result of rising and setting, darkening, and the brightening of the moon, the sun, and the constellations. So all these things can be found in Digha Nikaya. So if we just tell them this kind of things, and if we survive, it's a wrong livelihood. Yeah, the Buddha said he abstained from such wrong means or livelihoods, from such diverse arts. This too pertains to his moral discipline. Then again, we have the next one. Whereas some recluse and Brahmins, while living on foods offered by the faithful, earn their living by wrong means or livelihoods, by such diverse art as breathing. There will be abundant rain, there will be a drought. Then there will be a good harvest, there will be a famine, there will be security, there will be danger, there will be sickness, there will be health. Or they are living by counting, computation, calculations, and the compositions of poetry, speculations about the words. Actually, yeah, in this case, accounting, computation, calculation, this kind of things, also I think it's very easy to understand. And one more thing here, what we can find in the commentary. Yeah, counting means, he may count whatever thing he see, then he can also know something, right? For example, like if I'm counting some leaves on the ground, they can also find how many leaves on the tree, something like that. So in this kind of weather, it can be this. Maybe the tree will remain only this amount of leaves, something like this. They can know everything by counting. So anyway, I think in modern society, this is not that popular. But speculations about the words we call lokayata. Lokayata means how the words happen, something like how it happen in the world, something like that. Everything. Okay, now next one we can go. He abstains from such wrong means or livelihood, from such diverse arts. This too pertains to his moral discipline. Whereas some recluses and Brahmins, while living on the foods offered by the faithful, earn that they are living by the wrong means of livelihoods, by such diverse arts as arranging auspicious dates for marriage, both those in which the bride is brought home and those in which she is sent out. I think this kind of things also common in some Asian countries. They may have some special dates. In non-modern societies, I think many people are very busy. They cannot follow that kind of culture. They have to check on which day they are free, right? It will be different. So ancient times they may have auspicious dates. So this day is auspicious day, that day is not auspicious, the lucky day, unlucky day, we can say like that, right? Now, when Buddha appears, it's totally changed. If you are doing good, this is the auspicious day. Right? Buddha say like that. As long as we are doing good, that is auspicious. Now I have to continue this next one. Arranging auspicious dates for betrothals and divorces. So this one is also the problem, right? But now maybe they have some special arrangement, auspicious dates. Then again, arranging auspicious dates for accumulations or expenditure of money. So you can easily understand. If we do like this in modern society, we will be poor, right? We cannot earn money anymore. Reciting chants to make people lucky or unlucky. So now we can also say like that. It's like, for example, how do I say the one? Like now, sometimes they say like a blessing, blessing. The first time when I heard this one, it's a little strange to me. Why we have to chant for a blessing? Then I also have known many different things. Especially when I go abroad, I come to know what's really called blessing. They may keep water inside the bowl. They will use some special, I don't know, maybe a bamboo or something like that. Then they will dip inside in the water, and they may chant something. They will splash water to all the people. This is called blessing water. Right? But here, this one is like a charms to make people lucky or unlucky. So now, if we chant something for lucky or unlucky, then we have to consider the one. Right? Actually, Buddha allowed us to chant for protection. it will be different. Not for lucky or unlucky, just for protection. So, okay, now next one is rejuvenating the fetuses or aborted woman. So, sorry. So, in this case, that he just give medicine for this kind of medicine, or maybe he may prescribe proper medicine, or maybe the medicine she should use. Then, actually, this one is not chanting actually, right? This is just for prescribing medicines or like given medicines. This is called, okay, actually bhikkhu must not give any medicine like that. The reciting spells to bind immense tongues, to paralyze his jaw, to make him lose control over his hands, and to bring on deafness. So that means, so we have some explanation about it. So he may recite some smiles. He cannot. Then another one is nearby, actually within 7 steps. Right? So he may be within 7 steps. Then he may chant the mantra. It will affect another people. Then he cannot speak anymore. Because his jaw is to paralyze his jaw, he cannot speak anymore. Then, especially that kind of things can happen in the court. In the courts, there were two parties. There were 2 parties, right? Two parties. The one side, one party were hire the reciter. The mantra reciter, he may recite to control other parties. Then the first party will win, right? In this case, we cannot know what kind of mantras, but it mentioned within 7 steps, if he stands and also recite the mantra, it will affect other parties and he cannot speak anymore. Similarly, he will lose control of his hands. Also, he cannot hear anything. Also, the kind of things can be considered, right? Then another obtaining oracular answers to the questions by means of mirror, and the a girl or a goat. So that means actually, even at the time of the Buddha, there are some people like that. So there may be like they will use mirror and also, right, obtaining, right, oracular answers. Then also similarly the courts, and also like a girl or a goat. This kind of thing can be found in Samudra Nikaya also. You can find something like that. Anyway, then again, worshipping the sun, worshipping Mahabrahma, bringing forth flames from the mouth, invoking the goddess of luck. So, actually this kind of culture also can be found in India. Now we don't have this kind of culture in Myanmar. Like bringing false flames from the mouth, this kind of thing can be also found. Even in modern community, we can find this kind of culture. So, he abstains from such wrong means or livelihoods, from such devised arts. This too pertains to his moral discipline. Whereas some recluses and Brahmins, while living on the foods offered by the faithful, he earned their living earn their living by wrong means or livelihoods, by such devious arts as promising gifts to deities to return for favor. So that one is also, if, for example, if I'm successful, I will return this kind of donation, something like that, right? Then, okay, next one, fulfilling such promise. He may fulfill as he promised. Terminology. So actually, in this case, the architect is powerful, so he can command demons to come or to leave. This kind of thing can consider as a demonology. The reciting spells after entering an earthen house. Actually, we have explained this kind of things before. Okay, now this one will be a little bit difficult for the learner, inducing virility and impotence. This is like a kind of transsexual or something like that, right? The changing the gender. For example, like now in that kind of thing can be found in China in modern life. Even Myanmar, some homosexual men, they left for China for operations. After that, they become women, right? So this is called inducing virility and impotence transsexual. So this is like a transsexual, like a transsexual maybe, transgender maybe, right? That kind of things maybe. So we don't know how they make ancient time. Maybe they do some operations, or maybe they do chanting. I'm not sure. Maybe operation, maybe, right? So if the bhikkhu do this kind of things, it's also called wrong livelihoods. We are not allowed to do this kind of things. Then preparing consecrating site for a house. Consecrating a site for a house. This also, maybe we may have to find special place, right? Then again, giving ceremonial mouthwash and ceremonial bathing. We cannot find this kind of culture in Myanmar. Okay, sometimes we can also find ceremonial bathing maybe. This kind of thing can be found maybe. Okay, anyway, offering sacrificial fires. So, in this kind of things, we cannot find, right? We cannot find in Myanmar, but we can find in many other countries. Maybe in India we can find this kind of things. The administering emetics, purgatives, and expectorants, and pharmacagogues. So all these things are just for medicine, right? So then the administering medicines through the ear, through the nose, administering ointments and counter ointments, and so forth. And practicing fine surgery on the eyes and ears, practicing general surgeries on the body, practicing as a children's doctors, all these can be considered as wrong livelihoods. So he abstained from such wrong means or livelihoods, from such devious arts. This too pertains to his moral disciplines. So these are wrong livelihoods mentioned in Digha Nikaya. So we may have many different cultures. As a bhikkhu, we must not live, we must not survive by using all these methods. Then we also have pure livelihoods as a Buddhist, like for example, normal trading, as now for example, like a farming, like a officially trading. All these things can be considered as right livelihoods. Then we also can know many other things about wrong livelihoods as mentioned in Buddha's teaching. But anyway, when we talk about wrong livelihoods, we also have to talk about right livelihoods. So both are just for, actually now both the wrong livelihood and right livelihoods should be many. Even now, and there are many wrong livelihoods. There are many more wrong livelihoods in modern society. Right? Because we have different lifestyle now in modern community. Then there are many right livelihoods in modern community. Because now changing a lot. So when we talk about Ājīvaṭṭhamaka Sīla, we have to follow all these wrong livelihoods. We have to avoid all these wrong livelihoods as a Buddhist. If we can avoid as a Buddhist, we may have more pure morality. So this is the first part about Sīla. I have to continue many other parts in the future. So now from now on, I will follow all the procedure from the Visuddhimagga until I can find other topics on the text. Now one more thing here we have to know about the Sīla. Although we have many Sīlas, sometimes we also feel a little bit discomforts after listening many rules and regulations. Then the Buddha also said, don't think about rules and regulations. Don't think about many things. Just think about one thing. Train your mind. We have many stories like that. One bhikkhu, he has to learn many different things about Abhidhamma, Vinaya, also suttas, meditations. Then his Abhidhamma teacher also talks to him. Abhidhamma is very important. If you don't know Abhidhamma, you cannot know Namarupa. You cannot know ultimate reality. Now Vinaya teacher also talked to him. If you don't follow Vinaya, you don't have pure morality, then you cannot practice anymore. Then he get confused because he has to follow many rules. He has to do many things. Then finally he went to disrobe. When it was reported to the Buddha, Buddha asked him to do only one thing. Can you train your mind? When he said yes, okay, if you can train your minds, you can train everything. So that means the Buddha may say many different rules and regulations. The main things come from our minds. If we can train our minds, we may have good intention most of the time. We may have less mistakes. If we cannot train our minds, more mistakes will come. So today we have very long list. It will be a very heavy topic for you. But anyway, I also have very big collections of wrong livelihoods. I don't need to explain in the future. Later I have to follow Visuddhimagga's wrong livelihoods. At the time I will refer to all these topics again. Okay? So today I will stop here. May you all be able to practice the Buddha's teaching. As a result, may you all be able to realize the final cessation and no suffering. Sadhu, sadhu.
It's a question regarding this Surameraya Sīla that Sayadaw taught before. Sayadaw, there is this question asked about bean curd, soak bean curds, and Sayadaw say whether it is Sura or Meraya or not. It depends on the color. Is there a color, taste, or smell of alcohol? So he say this bean curd should not be under Surameraya or under this precept, but some summaries say it need to be decided based on the ingredient. If it has alcohol, then it cannot be taken. Bean curd means. So he felt that this may be too too rigid. This definition may be too rigid. He felt that in this precept, it should consider under this factor whether it can become a cause for negligence in order to decide whether this is alcohol or not. So he's not sure. So this is question 1.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so actually I have never taken this kind. It's very smelly for me. That's why I don't take that one. Right? Anyway, as long as it's not really intoxicant or it cannot make your mind negligent, it will be okay. Right? Okay, right? As long as it's not for negligence, it will be fine. No problem. Okay? Next one.
Seattle, before that, he read one book written by a Sri Lankan, bhikkhu. He said if a bhikkhu take money for the sangha, to offer to the sangha, so this bhikkhu will not commit any offense. Is that correct?
Actually, it depends on how he accepts, right? We cannot say is it no offense. For example, okay, I will say one example. Sangha or maybe GT or something like that, right? But I'm not sure about Sangha. If they talk about like the constructions, right? For construction kuti, although they make some mistakes, they will not use like I offer you lavisuddhi seeds, right? They will not say like that. They will just say, I want to offer you money for your kuti construction or monastery construction, something like that. So in this case, we must not appoint any kapiya. Right? We cannot appoint. But if he keeps something in the nearby, right? we just keep silent. Just put nearby. Although we don't reject, it doesn't matter. The main thing is, although we don't reject, it doesn't matter. So for about accepting, money is anamasa. As soon as we touch it, whether it is for monastery or anything, although we touch it's offense already. Right? We cannot do it. We cannot accept it. So if they offer, maybe like put somewhere, then in a couple of account we can say, oh, there's money. Right? There's some local 6. Offer for the monastery construction, it will be fine. So I mean no offense in this case. Although we don't, in this case we must not touch. We must not appoint kapiya. So that was a little bit problematic writing. Right? Okay? Next one.
In daytime, Samaneri needs to ask Dhamma from the bhikkhu. So he needs someone to accompany her. So this is according to Vinaya. But how about communications by using email or social media? A bhikkhu, if he communicates with a female through email or social media, would that be acceptable? Is that be appropriate?
Okay, in this case, as long as the writing system, what you write is like according to the Dhamma or not against Vinaya, it will be okay, right? So in my case, mostly when a phone call, I just switch the speaker, in order that the second person will understand, can hear what we are talking. So in this case, we have to choose the time, and also we have to choose the description, what we are going to use. As long as it's not against Vinaya, it will be fine, because we are not in the Hatha, right? We are not in the secluded area. And when we video call, there is some problem, maybe, right? Video call and some telephone call with some problem. Okay?
Vandami Seattle would like to ask, to learn Pali through Roman Pali, is there any disadvantage or not? And to learn Pali, must someone need to learn Myanmar Bali or Sinhalese Bali or Thai Bali? So as a foreigner, they don't have they don't have Myanmar language or Sinhalese or Thai language as their mother tongue, so he has to use Roman Pali to learn. So in which way to learn Pali is better?
Actually, as foreigner, you should use Roman Pali for faster, right? If you can learn faster if you use Roman Pali. For Myanmar Pali, it will take longer time. Not very common, right? So, okay, as you feel convenience, you can study with any languages. It doesn't matter. So mostly, if you cannot speak any other languages, I just recommend to use Roman Pali. Okay, this one.
Dear Sayadaw, good evening, Sayadaw. My plants has white molds called aphids growing on the branches and on the leaves. Is spraying neem oil on the plants and trying to use a toothbrush to brush these white molds away violated the Panatipata precept of non-killing. Thank you, Sayadaw. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. In the case of mold, this is just a plant, right? Not the animals. So in this case, we cannot say Panatipata.
Yes, Sayadaw. The 4 types of verbal wrong actions are very common in our daily life conversations. How heavy are these karma? How do we judge the seriousness of such karma? Will they cause to go to hell?
Okay, for example, like now modern community you can find like a propaganda, right? Propaganda. So giving wrong information to different people, like brainwash, that kind of things. Very, very heavy. Sometimes, if they are brainwashed, they cannot change their attitudes. Although they are doing very, very wrong things, they don't just wrong because of their brainwashed. So that kind of things very heavy because we have to make very long time efforts, right? So as we have explained before, it depends on your efforts, your defilements, and also how is other people's situations. So, for example, it's very harmful for their life, whole life, cannot change attitudes. That means it will be more serious. Just for daily conversations, we just say very simple things, right? Not like it's seducing other people or persuading other people to follow your own idea or something like that. It doesn't matter, right? So sometimes we have to give wrong information in order that they will follow us. In this case, it will be more serious. So, okay, in brief, your defilements, how strong your efforts, how long do you have to make efforts, and so how is it his conditions or her conditions. If the listeners have to suffer a lot, it will be heavy offense. Okay?
Yes, Sayadaw, in Pa'au, most of the time yogis only undertake 5 precepts or 8 precepts, but not Ājīvaṭṭhamaka Sīla. Why is that so? If we do not undertake Ājīvaṭṭhamaka Sīla, then we do not break such Sīla. Is it right? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Actually, when we undertake 8 precepts, and the Ājīvaṭṭhamaka Sīla also cover there. Another 8 precepts. For example, like a Musawada, right? When we are going to talk about Musawada in 8 precepts, but if we break Visuddhimagga, Prusavajja also, this also, it makes Musawada precepts weaker. Not very strong, very powerful. So that means we have to follow all the precepts. Ājīvaṭṭhamaka Sīla is under the 8 precepts, right? That's why we don't use Ājīvaṭṭhamaka Sīla in the meditation center. We just use 8 precepts. Okay?
Yes, Sayadaw. Sayadaw explained about Sampapalapa. Those topics mentioned are very common, and some even study them in school about history, war, politics, etc. That means when we study and discuss on these topics during our studies, we are also committing verbal bad conducts. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, so that means for bhikkhu, sure, this is very, very bad, right? For lay devotees, this is common. I should not say that kind of things, right? So this for your examination, for your life, it will be okay. So one more thing. What Buddha wish his disciple to do? It's just for meditation, for liberation. So by learning all these things, it's not for liberation, not for attainment, just for knowledge. Right? Here the Buddha don't wish his disciple spending their time for knowledge. As a lay devotee, you cannot avoid doing this kind of things. Okay, so as long as you are doing right, it's okay. Don't think about that too much as a lay person. Okay?
Dear Sayadaw, today's topic refers to recluses and Brahmins who are living on the food offered by the faithful, engaged in wrong livelihood and verbal wrong actions. Do they refer to lay disciples also? Okay,
so that means lay disciples, if they are meditators, they must be in the monastery of our vine. They have to live living on the foods of our vine, devotees, right? They should follow also. If they are living in the meditation center or somewhere like that. Okay?
Dear Sayadaw, if a silent directly or indirectly let devotees know that she already practiced samatha and vipassana meditation with the intention to gain respect, gains, or want to be a teacher, will this consider as wrong livelihood for her? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, so in this kind of case, we should not talk about how we practice or how we have achieved. This is not good behavior, right? So in this case, we can also say, if tell him many wrong informations, persuades devotees, in this case we can say this is a wrong livelihood. Okay?
Dear Sayadaw, if a bhikkhu teaches wrong meditation or dhamma to disciples when he himself is not even cultivated yet, he then gains fame, gain, and disciple by doing so. Is this considered a wrong livelihood for the bhikkhu? If we do not commit wrong livelihood, but we believe in this fortune-telling, etc., do we also commit bad karma? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
So the question is, if the bhikkhu, without practicing, just teaching other people, right?
Yes.
So okay, in this case, it depends on his knowledge also. For example, like even in Pali Canon, we can also find, Pali text, we can also find, we can learn from an Arahat. If there's no Arahat, Anagami, something like that, right? Finally, if we cannot find anybody, we can learn from Tipitaka memorizer, Tipitaka learners. If there's nobody like that, maybe one Nikaya learner or something like that, right? Who has already learned one Nikaya. So we have this kind of instruction. If he has already learned how to meditate, although he hasn't practiced fully, it doesn't matter. It will be allowable. But for fame or gain, or just for to get more disciples, in this case, wrong intentions is not recommended, right? Not recommendable.
The second part is, if we do not commit wrong livelihood, but we believe in this fortune-telling, etc., do we also commit bad karma?
Okay. So in this case, also difficult to say how you believe, right? For example, sometimes you believe, but you spend your time a lot. In this case, although you may believe because of they are good talker, many of good talker are good liar. Because of their conversation, then you believe in their talk. In this case, it will be exception because you are cheated. This is not your bad karma. After that, you realize they are cheating. Then you avoid. It doesn't matter. If you just follow knowingly, this is the problem. Okay?
Vandami Sayadaw, if people who have ordained to organize a marriage ceremony or become the witness for couples who are going to marry, or to give chanting to a person who is going to pass away, or to the funeral to do chanting, would they consider this wrong livelihood? For example, some people they splash water or touch the devotees' heads to bless them. Would they consider this wrong livelihood?
This is a very big problem, yeah. So actually, Now, okay, in brief, we can understand we must not mislead the devotees. Even in Myanmar, we have this kind of problem sometimes. When I go somewhere, they say, "Bani, please touch my head." No, I cannot touch. I have to say like that. So that means, because it depends on the place they live, they are influenced by their community. That's why they believe that kind of things, right? This kind of things are really very, very harmful for devotees. It also can be considered as a wrong livelihood. Like you say now, if we chant in the wedding ceremony, it doesn't matter. This is chanting. Like Metta Sutta is okay, no really big problem. Giving Dhamma Talk, okay, no really big problem. Like a witness for their wedding ceremony, wedding, like they have to go to the court, like the office, sign something like that. In this case, this is not our concerns. We should not do this kind of things. For about funeral, okay, for chanting, it's okay, no really big problem. Chanting means we can chant Metta Suttas, do the departed relatives, something like that, sharing marriage, chanting, this kind of things, okay. So, if we chant unnecessary things, right, just showing how skillful we are or something like this, that's not really good things to do. So, okay, it depends on what we chant in the ceremony. In the wedding ceremony, Mangala Sutta, okay. In the funeral, Metta Sutta, okay. We can also do like one Sutta from Sutta Nipada. Okay, I don't know about that. Okay, about the course, some suttas like that. Okay, we can chant that kind of things. We can also give Dhamma Talk this kind of things. It will be fine. Because that means, in brief, it depends on what we chant or what we give to the devotees. We must not mislead. If we mislead, it can be wrong livelihoods in any situations. Okay?
Yes, Sayadaw mentioned Ājīvaṭṭhamaka Sīla are compulsory like the 5 precepts, whether people undertake them or not. Sayadaw, could I just clarify that this means that everyone, including bhikkhus, nuns, and layperson, must observe Ājīvaṭṭhamaka Sīla? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, sure. That means when you are going to meditate, it's really compulsory to observe all these things. So if you want to live with pure morality, or if you want to be virtuous, we should follow all these rules. Right, sure.
Sayadaw, about this 10 type of wife, one type of wife is Dana Kita. So this behavior, would that consider the wrong livelihood by having traits in humans?
Okay, human trafficking and Dana Kita will be 2 different things. For example, in modern society, and this is like now, in modern society, we can say this is like a Dana Kita is a human trafficking. Ancient time, they have the culture. The girls agree to live with the man. In this kind of case, we're going to say this is a human trafficking, right? Because the parental consents, and also the girls agree to live. In this case, it will be okay. But in modern society, it's only one way, right? This is the only human trafficking. Sure. It's also very, very wrong livelihood, sure.
Vandami Sayadaw, please explain why it is not allowed to administer emetics, purgatives, etc., not even practicing as a children's doctor. This is not right to help patients. Especially
for bhikkhu, bhikkhu must not be a doctor to treat people or to give medicine to the people. So all these things are actually for bhikkhus and especially for ordinary persons, right? We ordinary persons must not give any medicine to any bhikkhus or any lay devotees because it will destroy their faith. That's what we are not allowed to do. Even our kapiya will be exceptions. Those who work for our parents, it will be exception. Those who work for Sangha, it will be exceptions. Otherwise, we must not give any medicine to anybody. That's the Vinaya rules. Okay?
Yes, Sayadaw. Vanami Sayadaw. So Sayadaw say the one who create a poem, poem, and then to make a living on that. So now many bhikkhus who will make a poem and post on social media in order to get more followers. So because of we are devotees, so we see that we will devotee will offer more and invite him for tour, invite him for go here and there for donation. So that also consider as the Micha Ajiva. Yes, Vanami said all.
Okay, this is some problem with modern society, especially social media problem, right? For about the poems, it depends on what kind of poems. Even I myself compose many poems about Dhamma, especially for the kids, you know. Now in my monastery, I have some small sialis, so I have to teach them Dhamma. I have to compose poems in order that they can learn well. In Myanmar also we have many, for example, like a Mangala Sutta, we have poems. Singalawara Sutta, we have poems. So many things like that. If there's Dhamma purpose, after reading poems, they can also memorize the Dhamma easily. In this case, it will be exceptions. But even that kind of things, some of the scholars are not really very agree with this. For example, like Lady Sayadaw. Lady Sayadaw also composed many poems. Even Vinamata Sangha is composed as a poem. When he was composing all these things, many other Sayadaw complained. Now, there is composing psalms. Soon he will teach his follower how to dance. They complain like that. So anyway, the main thing is, if somebody practices very strictly, they will not like composing poem. For example, Paul Sayadaw don't like poems. He also talked to many of his disciples. We're not going to give Dhamma talk, don't compose poem. It should be original. He said like that. Okay, anyway, sometimes for easier understandings or for informations, Dhamma information, we may use short notes. Mostly in my case, when I compose poem, it makes short. For example, like one sutta will be 10 pages. If I compose into a poem, it can be only maybe two poems, maybe 6 lines, maybe, right? 6 lines, only 2 poems, something like that. So it depends on skill. It depends on how you use the poems. If you just use the poems just for the laugh or fun or something like that, this one is very, very risky for ordinary person. Also not that much useful for devotees also. Okay, so in brief, even in Myanmar, we have many controversy about composing poem. If you want to do very strictly, don't compose any poem. If you wish to do, okay, if you cannot avoid just doing it for Dhamma purpose, it will be right. Okay?
Sayadaw,
Please.
in her hometown, there are many people who have been haunted by Amanusa and go to the monastery. How the monks in the monastery handle this?
In Myanmar, you mean?
Means in his hometown, there are many people haunted by the non-human. So went to the monastery. So how the monks should handle them?
Actually, I don't know how they arrange in other country. In Myanmar, if we have this kind of problem, we will go to the area and chant Brita. Right? Then if not successful, we have to check. We have to find what is the problem in this area, who passed away, why he passed away, something like that. If we cannot exactly, first we will share the merits. After that, we will do some dhanas. We will share merits. Then, after that, we will chant Brita. That's all. We just handle like this. Very simple way. Okay?
Vandami Sayadaw, for normal persons, I think it's lay person to become a child doctor. Would they pediatrician? Would they consider wrong? Would not be considered wrong livelihood, right?
No, it's not wrong livelihood. Lay persons are okay. Lay person can be a doctor or lawyer or anything. It doesn't matter as long as they are doing well, right? They are serving people well. We're gonna say wrong livelihood. It's okay. Only for bhikkhu it's not allowed to be a doctor. to give medicine to lay devotees. Okay?
Vanami said đó, mấy ai said đó, con xin phép hỏi vợ con làm nghề làm đẹp. My wife job is she doing is she is a tattoo artist. She tattoos the eyebrow, she tattoo the leaf for the people. So said đó, may I ask a question? Either as my wife is doing her job is considered wrong livelihood. Yes, thank you, said đó.
No, this is a lay person. This is not wrong, not harmful for anybody, right? Just for people's needs, right? She's just working for people's needs. It's okay. One more thing, right? So if she is like cheating people, it can be wrong livelihood. As long as she's earning properly, it's the right livelihood, no problem. It's okay.
Madam Siado would like to ask one question. If someone, a superior cannot, if a person who is responsible for a certain task, he cannot evaluate the reports given by the subordinates, means his worker, whether the report has correct contents or not, in order to prevent committing any offense. Then, okay. So let's say if this person write a report and he cannot be sure, when he got this report, he cannot be sure this is correct, is true or not. So in order to prevent committing any offense, so the person who wrote this report, he can make a statement saying that this has not been evaluated yet. So anything in this reports will be responsible by the person who wrote. So is that okay? It means.
Okay, so this is a little bit strange, right? If unsure, if not sure, we should not do, right? If sure, we have to do. This is the way Buddha expected from his disciples. As a bhikkhu, if we suspect, we should not do. This is also the problem. So in this case, a little bit risky. Okay.
Vandami Siado, in Thailand and Shan State in Myanmar, sometimes lay people offer to the monks a kind of sweet fermented stick rice soup. This stick rice ferment will produce certain amount of alcohol during the fermentation. In fact, will turn to rice wine if fermented for a long time. Can a monk take it knowing its taste is sweet without much of the smell and taste of alcohol? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
So as long as it's causing negligence, we should not take. If not causing negligence, it will be okay. Then it smell, like a enzyme also, we have an alcohol smell, right? Similarly, vinegar also has alcohol smell, but it's not intoxicant. It cannot make us negligent. So it depends on the way the ingredients make. For example, like if ingredients produce negligence, we have to avoid this kind of things. I don't know that one actually. I haven't been to Shan State that much long, only short time. I don't know all these things. Okay?
Dear Siado, if someone is sick and need medicine, administering ointments and counter ointments is breaking wrong livelihood or not?
Okay, for about lay person, it is not wrong livelihood. Only for bhikkhus it's wrong livelihood. Okay?
The second question is, to protect the skin from skin cancer or something to use sun cream is breaking it precept or not?
Okay, in this case, it depends on what kind of things. Okay, for example, like if we are observing 8 precepts, that we must not use that one because it's good smell we should not use. Just we are going to here and there, and you have to protect your skin. In this case, okay, you can use. We cannot say breaking precepts.
Meditation planting.
尊敬的西亚朵，请教
Vandami Sayadaw. Now this modern society and the society during Buddha's time is not same, and the culture in different area also will not be the same. So if someone train his mind, then until which stage, or depending on what she trains, so that he can discriminate by using his wisdom to know what the give and takes.
So, actually, in this case, not because of the practice, it depends on your rationality or your thinking, right? Your intellectual quality. So you can also know good and bad according to your own knowledge, according to your own environment. It doesn't matter. Train the mind is just to subside wrong thoughts and wrong speech, something like that. Anyway, the main thing is that as long as you are not harmful for your environment, is okay. If your speech, your behavior is a little bit disturbing your environment, then you have to change. Okay. So in this case, we have to think about how it affects our environment. It will be useful. Okay.
If someone have a special power, she can use this power to treat the body of someone else, and also can predict what happens in the future. Would that be considered wrong livelihood? If someone have a wrong livelihood and stay in a monastery, how would it affect the monastery? And the monastery, how should the monastery management handle this type of persons who live with wrong livelihood?
Actually, if that kind of person is working in the monastery, it will be harmful for the monastery. And this is not really very good, not very good. Although he knows the truth, it's not really very good for the future. So anyway, actually the Buddha teaching recommended that kind of people. As a bhikkhu, it's a wrong livelihood, they totally have wrong livelihood. As devotees also, sometimes it's a little bit problematic in the community. Okay, briefly, it depends on the effort, right, in the area. But in my own opinion, we should not accept that kind of devotees who is talking that kind of using that kind of power to help people, so-called help people, right? Not really helping people, just like it, just trying people's faith or confidence. Okay.
If amongst colleagues means people working together have already committed this kamitsu michachara. But after that, the person gives supports in the works. In this way, would they consider wrong livelihood?
So that means
getting supports in works through kamitsu michachara.
Getting support to who?
Supports to during work, get some supports or get some gains through kamitsu michachara.
Oh, then like a prostitution, you mean?
Not prostitution. For example, between a colleague in a company, someone gets supports from others, but after that provides a kamitsu michachara or.
Oh, like this, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, that one is a little bit risky, right? That one is okay. So this one is a little bit complicated. Colleagues, between colleagues in heaven, right?
Yes, Yado.
Like this. So this one is a little bit risky, right? Not prostitution, but also this is a give and take, right? I cannot answer this question. I cannot imagine. Oh, dukkha. Okay.
Let me see. after taking 8 precepts, and someone use this palm to apply palm in order to do massaging, to relieve the muscle, to relieve the pains of the body, would they consider breaking the precepts, the 8 precepts? And also in the morning, if someone comb the hair, brush teeth, and by looking at the mirror, would they consider breaking 8 precepts?
In this case, we cannot say breaking precepts. Okay, but by looking at mirror, it will make your morality weaker, right? About like a massage or just for some health purpose, it doesn't matter. We cannot say breaking precepts. It must not be very perfume wine or perfume massage wine, right? If you use perfume massage wine, what is the problem? Okay.
In the case of the one who chant the mantra, so make the people, the jaw become frozen, or the ear become deaf, or the eye cannot see clear, or blind the eye, không thể nói được, and cannot speak. And at that time, so how should we do to become normal again? So what kind of things should we do to become a normal again? Like if somebody chant, recite the chant, and then we become frozen the eye, the eye blind the eye, or the frozen the jaw, or deaf, the ear become deaf. So at that time, what should we do to be recover? Yeah, thank you, sir.
Actually, I should not give medicine, right? I should not prescribe medicine in Dhamma Talk. I'm also a bhikkhu. Actually, we have that for that solution we can find in Visuddhimagga about medicine chapter. You can read that chapter. You can find, right? That chapter is not very long. You can read. You can find the solution. Okay, and just talk about the textbooks. I'm not prescribe the medicine. Okay, very easy. You can find.
Wandami Bante, what if a bhikkhu is not involved in arranging auspicious dates for marriages? One day the couple were married, come to the temple and ask bhikkhu who stay at the temple to bless their marriage. This happens a lot in Indonesia, where there are bhikkhus who involve in these wedding blessings of upasaka, upasika. Does this include micca jiva?
So it depends on how they do blessing. In also we have this kind of culture. The couples will come to the monastery, they will offer lands or something like that. Then we will chant Mangala Sutta, we may give Dhamma Talk. That's all. We don't have many other blessing. I don't know how they call blessing, right? Maybe they may use some water to bless, right? Splash water, something like that. This kind of things is a little bit strange, misleading people. So we should avoid as bhikkhu. Okay.
Yes, Yado. We buy a ready milk from a shop without being involved in ordering the milk from the farm. Then we resell the milk and use the money generated from reselling this milk as our income. Does this include micca jiva or mamsa vanija bante?
Actually, this question has already come to my chat box recently. Actually, we have to consider that one also. Now, many dry meats, right? You can find in many convenience stores. We have to consider that one also, because this is also selling the meats, right? We have to consider as a micca jiva.
Vanami said, this one mean the milk, said milk, not meat, said yes.
Oh, milk. Okay, it's okay. No, milk is not killing. It's okay, no problem.
Sadhu.
Milk is okay, no problem.
Yes, Yado. For example, a dog gives birth to puppies. When we cannot afford to take care of our puppies, we will share them with others. But usually the new dog adopters will give us money. Does this include micca jiva?
Okay, in this case, we cannot say, right? This is not selling the puppy for meat. It's okay. In the case of the animal trade, it's better for meat, for killing. It will be the problem. Okay?
in the 5 precepts PowerPoint file, for the 4 factors to complete the act of sexual misconduct is he enjoys it. For example, for an extreme example, a prostitute have sex with a married man, which he just considered it as a job, not enjoying it. This is not breaking the 3rd precept. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sure, she's not breaking precept, sure. One more thing, okay? In her case, we have to, for prostitution, we have another case. I have explained at the time. Maybe she may have 2 men, for example. The first man give money already. Maybe she may have sex with second man. She's breaking precepts. Right? First come, first serve. She may have this kind of servant, right? Otherwise, it will be the problem for prostitution also. Okay? Ita vata ja amehi sambadam bunya sambadam sabbe deva numodandu sabbe buddha numodandu sabbe satta numodandu sabba sambati siriya idam me nyatinam hodu sukhita hondu nyadayo idam me nyatinam hodu sukhita hondu nyadayo idam me nyatinam hodu sukhita hondu nyadayo idam me bunyam asawakaya vaham hodu idam me bunyam nibbanasa bhajayo hodu mama bunya bhagam sabba sadanam bhajemi te sabbe me samam bunya bhagam lavandu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.